Los Angeles Lakers traveled to Chase Center on April 9, 2026, and left with a convincing 119-103 victory over the Golden State Warriors. The win was decisive, efficient, and at times, breathtaking. Los Angeles shot 61% from the field and outplayed Golden State in nearly every phase of the game. The result allowed the Lakers to maintain their grip on the fourth seed in the Western Conference with the playoffs fast approaching. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. This was not a game the Lakers were supposed to have easy. Going in without two key rotation players, many expected a competitive but difficult night. Instead, the team responded with one of its most complete performances of the second half of the season. The offense was crisp, the defense was engaged, and the bench provided contributions that, in other games this year, have been hard to count on. LeBron James was the story of the night, and it was not particularly close. The 41-year-old veteran finished with 26 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds on 11 of 17 shooting from the field, including 3 of 5 from behind the arc. He was the team's top scorer at halftime with 18 points already on the board and helped keep the Lakers organized even when Golden State made a push in the second quarter. His vision and precision on the passing end were on full display, distributing the ball in ways that left the Warriors scrambling to rotate. For the second consecutive game as the team's undisputed first option, LeBron demonstrated he has not lost a step. 2 nights earlier against Dallas, he put up 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 15 assists. Against the Warriors, he followed that up with another near triple-double performance that had both fans and media talking. The numbers speak for themselves, but what matters most to the Lakers right now is that LeBron is healthy, focused, and playing at an elite level heading into the postseason. There was, however, a terrifying moment in the third quarter when James chased down Warriors guard Pat Spencer on a fast break and swatted the ball off the backboard, but his right hand caught the board hard on the follow-through. He winced, was pulled from the game, and spent time on the bench with his little finger iced in a cup. Lakers fans held their collective breath across the arena and on social media. After a few minutes, LeBron returned to the bench and later came back into the game, providing enormous relief for the franchise. A hand injury at this stage of the season could be devastating for a team already shorthanded, and the scare quickly went viral on social platforms. Beyond LeBron, the story of the game belonged to the role players who stepped up in significant ways. Jake LaRavia was arguably the team's most complete performer. He posted 16 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals to go along with a game-high plus 29 rating. LaRavia was present on both ends of the floor all night, knocking down threes, crashing the boards, and making winning plays whenever the game needed them. It was one of the best individual outings of his season, and comes at exactly the right time for the Lakers. Off the bench, two-way guard Nick Smith Jr. provided a jolt of energy that changed the game's momentum in the fourth quarter. He scored 12 points on 4 of 5 shooting from three-point range, including back-to-back triples that pushed the Lakers' lead from a manageable margin to a comfortable cushion. His performance was exactly the type of spark off the bench the head coach J.J. Redick has been searching for throughout the season. Center DeAndre Ayton was also notably more aggressive than he's been in recent outings. He attacked the paint early and often, finishing with 21 points while consistently generating high-percentage looks near the basket. Ayton's physicality set the tone inside and forced Golden State to adjust its defensive rotations, opening up space for shooters on the perimeter. The one blemish on the night was the turnovers. The Lakers coughed the ball up 17 times, handing the Warriors 16 points off those mistakes. In the first half alone, Los Angeles committed 11 turnovers, prompting J.J. Redick to call a timeout early in the second quarter when Golden State went on a 9-0 run to cut the deficit to 5. The Lakers responded well, regaining control before halftime and never letting Golden State seriously threaten in the second half. The efficiency of their shooting, 61% from the field overall, more than compensated for the turnover troubles. When a team shoots that well, it is very difficult for the opposition to gain any real foothold. The Warriors had no answer for the combination of LeBron's distribution, LaRavia's all-around game, and Ayton's interior presence. Next up for Los Angeles is a home game against the Phoenix Suns at Crypto.com Arena. The Suns have already locked in their playoff positioning, so there's less urgency on their end. The Lakers, on the other hand, are fighting to hold on to a strong seed in the West. With the playoffs closing in, every remaining game carries significant weight for Los Angeles. The dominant performance against Golden State provided real momentum. Now the question is whether the team can carry forward, especially with key players still sidelined and LeBron carrying the bulk of the load on a nightly basis. While the Lakers celebrated their victory over Golden State, The biggest storyline surrounding the franchise remains the health of two of its most important players. On April 10th, 2026, head coach J.J. Redick spoke to reporters and shared the latest updates on both Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, two players whose absence has fundamentally altered Los Angeles' playoff outlook. Redick revealed that he had personally spoken with Luka Doncic the day before, while the Slovenian star continues his rehabilitation in Spain. The coach reported that Doncic is in what he described as relatively good spirits and is attacking his recovery program with commitment. For a player sidelined with a serious injury right before the postseason, the mental side of rehab is just as critical as the physical progress. And Redick's words suggested the 26-year-old guard is handling the situation as well as could be hoped. Since arriving in Los Angeles earlier this season in a blockbuster trade that reshaped the franchise, Doncic is one of the most impactful players in the entire Western Conference when healthy. His ability to create shots off the dribble, orchestrate the offense from multiple positions, and manufacture points in high-leverage situations makes him irreplaceable. The Lakers built their second half of season identity around his skill set, and his absence has forced the entire roster to adjust roles and responsibilities in significant ways. Regarding Austin Reeves, Redick shared a slightly different but equally relevant piece of information. The coach noted that it has been beneficial for Reeves to remain around the team during the initial phase of his rehabilitation process. While Reeves is also not playing, his physical presence in the locker room and at practice facilities provides an important psychological anchor for the group. Teammates feed off that kind of energy, and keeping a player of Reeves' stature engaged with the day-to-day rhythms of the team helps maintain cohesion during a difficult stretch. Reeves has been one of the Lakers' most trusted rotational contributors, and questions about his availability for the playoffs remain unanswered. The dual absences represent a major problem for a team with genuine championship aspirations. The Lakers are a roster that was constructed around multiple high-level offensive creators, and losing two of them simultaneously, with the playoffs just around the corner, has placed an enormous burden on LeBron James. He is carrying the offensive load almost entirely on his own, running the point, creating for teammates, and still being expected to be the team's primary scorer when situations demand it. That burden became visible during the Warriors game when LeBron appeared to hurt his right hand late in the contest. He was briefly removed from the game as medical staff attended to him on the bench. The moment sent shockwaves across social media, with fans and analysts expressing alarm at the prospect of yet another injury to the roster. Fortunately, James returned and played through the issue, but it served as a sobering reminder of how thin the margin for error truly is right now. Without Doncic and Reeves available, the Lakers supporting cast must elevate consistently. Players like Rui Hachimura, Jake LaRavia, and DeAndre Ayton, who delivered strong individual performances against Golden State, will need to reproduce those efforts on a nightly basis. One strong game is encouraging. A sustained run of quality performances heading into the playoffs is what the coaching staff and front office are counting on. Looking ahead, the Lakers face the Phoenix Suns in their next contest. Phoenix has already secured the number 7 seed in the play-in tournament, meaning the Suns have limited stakes in the outcome of this game. The Lakers, on the other hand, are fighting to protect their seeding in the Western Conference. They have dropped 3 games to the Suns already this season, making it a matchup that requires serious focus and preparation. The injury updates from Redick offer cautious optimism, but provided no concrete timeline for either player's return. The playoffs are imminent, and every day that passes without Doncic and Reeves back in uniform represents another day where the Lakers must rely on a depleted roster to fight for wins. The team is managing the situation as best it can, but the returns of both players before or during the postseason will determine whether this team's championship ambitions remain alive or fade under the pressure of competition. It is also worth considering the psychological impact these absences have on the rest of the roster. When a team loses key pieces late in the season, the remaining players must absorb not only increased tactical responsibilities, but also heightened pressure. Younger players who might normally operate in defined and limited roles suddenly find themselves being asked to do far more than their experience typically demands. How those players respond will go a long way toward defining the Lakers' postseason fortunes. Head coach J.J. Redick has navigated this stretch with a measured approach, emphasizing execution and togetherness, while clearly working hard to prepare the team for multiple scenarios. His personal communication with Doncic, checking in while the star recovers in Spain, reflects the kind of relationship-focused leadership that builds trust within a locker room, and that trust will be essential if the team needs to rally around a depleted lineup in the early rounds of playoffs. As the 2025-26 NBA regular season enters its final days, the Los Angeles Lakers are already looking ahead to what promises to be a pivotal and potentially transformative offseason. According to insider Jovan Buah, the Lakers are planning to actively shop guard Dalton Knecht throughout the summer, and the goal is straightforward. Get off his contract and use whatever return they receive to improve the overall roster around LeBron James and their core stars. The news represents a significant shift in how the organization views Knecht, who arrived in the purple and gold as the 17th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft with considerable promise. As a rookie last season, he showed genuine flashes of value. He averaged 9.1 points per game across 78 appearances, logged 19.2 minutes per night, and shot 37.8% from behind the arc. For a team in need of perimeter shooting and floor spacing, he looked like a building block who could develop into a reliable rotation contributor alongside more established players. That trajectory did not continue. In his second NBA season, Knecht's numbers have dropped sharply across every meaningful category. He is averaging just 4.0 points and 1.4 rebounds per game. His three-point percentage has fallen to 30.4%, and his role has diminished considerably, playing only 10.3 minutes across 50 appearances this year. He made just one start all season, recording 8 points and 4 rebounds in 23 minutes against Portland on November 3rd. Since then, his opportunities have been limited and his impact minimal. The Lakers attempted to move Knecht at the February trade deadline, but the market response was lukewarm at best. The lack of takers at the deadline tells a clear story about how the rest of the league currently values the 25-year-old forward. Despite his team-friendly contract, carrying a $4.201 million cap hit in 2026-27 with a $6.452 million club option for 2027-28, his declining production and defensive limitations have diminished his appeal as a trade asset. Analysts and league observers note that Knecht's shooting was most impressive in his first 19 games as a rookie, where he shot 43.9% from three and averaged 12.2 points per game. That version of the player generated real excitement inside the organization. The follow-up season has been a steep regression, and the Lakers, who are operating on a compressed championship timeline, simply cannot afford to retain players whose development has plateaued without contributing meaningful minutes to winning basketball. The broader context of the situation is significant. The Lakers are facing one of the most consequential off-seasons in recent franchise history. LeBron James is a free agent this summer, earning $52.6 million this season. Austin Reeves, who turned down an extension last summer and is eligible for a max deal worth up to 5 years and $241 million, is also set to become a free agent. The organization must navigate both situations simultaneously, while also determining how best to build a roster capable of competing for a championship. The Knecht trade discussions are part of that larger strategic calculation. Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office have been intentional about preserving optionality heading into this offseason. They declined several trade opportunities at the deadline, keeping 3 first-round picks, the 2026, 2031, and 2033 selections, available, along with projected cap space of approximately $51 million. That financial flexibility gives Los Angeles the ability to pursue free agents, execute sign trade deals, or package assets for a major move if the right opportunity presents itself. The type of player the Lakers are targeting is a veteran who adds immediate value without disrupting the franchise's long-term structure. Whether that is a reliable floor spacer like Duncan Robinson of the Miami Heat or a veteran shooting guard who can provide consistent perimeter production, the priority is filling the specific gaps the team has struggled with all season, particularly three-point shooting consistency and defensive versatility from the wing positions. For Knecht, the summer will be a defining moment in his young career. If the Lakers find a trade partner willing to take on his contract and give Los Angeles even modest value in return, he will be moving on. If the market remains as cold as it was in February, the franchise may have to accept a below-value deal just to clear space. Either way, the direction is clear. The Lakers are moving forward without Dalton Knecht as part of their core, and the offseason will be about building the next version of a team firmly committed to competing at the highest level while LeBron James remains in uniform. The broader message from the front office is one of urgency tempered by discipline. Pelinka and the Lakers are not chasing any deal simply to make noise. They are holding their assets for the right opportunity. Teams in rebuilding phases, such as the Detroit Pistons or Charlotte Hornets, are the types of organizations that could absorb Knecht in exchange for pieces that better fit Los Angeles' current window. The league's new collective bargaining agreement adds complexity to any transaction, with a second apron salary threshold creating restrictions on how teams build rosters and aggregate contracts. Navigating those rules while still improving the roster will be among the most challenging tasks Pelinka has faced as general manager. The summer of 2026 may well define the next era of Lakers basketball.